is an absolutely glorious weather night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. I mean, perfect. Reds and the Phillies in round 2 of a 4-game series. And my, oh my, were they the fighting Phils here last night. Hi again, everybody, alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, and Brian Giesenslaw. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us on this Friday night, big night here, Elvis bobblehead night. You were tight with the King at one time.
Real tight.
The Phillies last night, 7 home runs in the game.
Well, they were tight. They were tight hitting the ball over the fence. It looked like it was going to be a home run derby as we began the ball game. Tyler Mahle had a really difficult time in a very lengthy first inning, but the Reds came back. They put some home runs on the board as well. But the problem that the Reds ran into is their home run stopped and the Phillies continued, and they continued and continued. As you see, those kind of home runs, when you hit 7 in a ball game, that's tough to win.
All right, let's shift gears to the guy who will try and slow the Phillies down here tonight, Anthony DeSclafani.
Tom, I think for DeSclafani, last couple of starts, probably not the best 2 starts of the year, but he was on a roll for a while there where he was throwing the ball awfully well. The key is keeping the ball down in the strike zone. He had a little bit of trouble with his breaking ball the last time out, but for DeSclafani, keeping the ball up in the bottom of the strike zone is going to be what gives him his success.
You know, we saw the Phillies for the first time this year all the way back in the beginning of April. It was the first road trip of the year. And we saw Nick Pivetta, who's starting tonight. He was unbelievable, yet his season numbers really aren't all that good.
Yeah, I think when you look at Pivetta, what we saw in the beginning of the season, he had no-hit stuff pretty much the 7 innings that he was out there. But there have been other ball games where he has gotten hit awfully hard. The key for the Reds tonight is the first 2 innings. If they can get to him early, they'll put him away. If not, it'll be a Pivetta night again.
All right, when we come back, we're going to check in with Brian. He's down along the Reds dugout. Eugenio Suarez tonight trying to match a franchise record by homering in 5 in a row.
Time and by GMC. Hey there, Reds fans. Local 12 News meteorologist John Gum with you. Here in late July, it is typically the hottest time of the year in Cincinnati. Not so this year. Take a look at this forecast tonight. I mean, what a night for baseball at Great American Ballpark. 78 here by the first pitch. We're down to 70. A little bit cool there by the final out. Mainly clear skies tonight. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Welcome back inside Great American Ballpark. Brian Giesenslaw. The game here last night, only one game in Great American Ballpark history has featured more combined home runs than the 9 home runs we saw here last night. The Phillies hit 7, but Eugenio Suarez hit one of the Reds' 2 home runs, and Eugenio Suarez is our IGS bringing the energy because Suarez has homered in 4 consecutive games. That's a career best for him. The Reds' record for the franchise is 5. Suarez homered in each of the 3 games of the St. Louis series and got things started for the Reds last night with a 2-run shot as well. So can he match the franchise record? That's what we'll find out here tonight. And can the Reds even this series up after a lopsided loss last night? Stick around. First pitch just around the corner on Fox Sports Ohio. We send it back to Tom and the Cowboy for Game 2 action from downtown Cincinnati.
Mark, I can't begin to tell you what a perfect night it is here in downtown Cincinnati. Temperature right around 80 degrees, no humidity. What a glorious night. Phillies is 7 dingers here last night, cranked out 18 hits, beat the Reds 9-4. The franchise record they tied last night with those 7 home runs. They did it back in 1998 against the New York Mets. So the Reds are taking the field, open for better things here tonight. Gabe Kapler's starting lineup. Why would you change anything from last night? The man trying to slow him down is Anthony DeSclafani. After beginning the year on the disabled list, he's making just his 10th start of the year. And I mean, not a single change to the Philadelphia batting order, except for, of course, a man on the mound. Hernandez, Hoskins, Herrera, Santana, Franco, Nick Williams, Kingery, Alfaro, and Pivetta. What have been your impressions, Jeff Brantley, on Anthony DeSclafani? Didn't pitch at all last year. He comes back this year, gets hurt again in spring training. What do you think so far?
I think his stuff has been very good. I think the thing for DeSclafani is he's got to limit the critical mistakes, the home runs. You see in that category 14 home runs in just that limited amount of innings. That's not normally what you get or what we've seen from Anthony DeSclafani in the past. And you talked about the lineup for the Phillies. They did not change anything. Well, the Reds have definitely got to change the way they approach this Phillies lineup. All that pitching out over the plate, that can't happen. And with DeSclafani's ability to run the ball in on these right-handers, he's going to have to use that here tonight, especially to the guy hitting in the number 2 spot.
Give me an idea, you know, with only playing teams outside your own division 2 series a year and all the injuries that DeSclafani has been through. He pitched against Philadelphia as a member of the Marlins twice in 2014. In 15, he pitched against them twice as a member of the Reds. That was the last time he saw the Phillies, and we are in 2018. They don't have anybody left from those teams.
Well, if they do, they're probably a coach. If they do, they're probably a coach.
You're exactly right. Fastball up and away. Ball 1 to Cesar Hernandez, and we are underway. We told you before the first pitch last night, kind of the staple of this Philadelphia offense, besides hitting a lot of home runs, which they've done a lot of lately, not just last night. They have 57 of them in their last 37 games. But they really worked the count, extended long at bats, and we saw it last night, batter after batter after batter, starting with the very first batter of the game.
And it was interesting the approach that the Phillies took. First time through the lineup, they took a boatload of pitches, every hitter. After that, they were awfully aggressive.
And there's ball 4. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively behind DeSclafani. They'll go with Hamilton and Duvall. They've been regulars here lately with the injuries, of course, to Winker for the year, and Schebler should be back relatively soon. First start is a red for Mason Williams. He was a pinch hitter after being called up from the minor leagues last night. Regular cast along the infield, and Tucker behind the plate. Hernandez is a base stealing threat. He has 14 of them, has only been thrown out twice. Hoskins in the opening inning last night, solo blast to deep left, and then he would do it once more in the 6th inning. No doubt about either one of them. It marked the first time that a major league team had 3 players with multi-home run games since the 2003 Boston Red Sox. Names like Big Papi Ortiz, Bill Miller, and Jason Varitek did on the 4th of July at Yankee Stadium. It was the first time a Phillies team had done that since 1998. And not such regular household names on that team. Kevin Sefcik, Rico Brogna, and Bobby Estelea.
I played with all 3 of those guys. I mean, even Jim Riggleman, Reds manager, will tell you the Reds pitching staff has got to figure out some way to limit home runs. It's not as though every other team comes into this ballpark and gives up 15 home runs in a 3-game series. You've got to figure it out in your own home ballpark.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and that's strike 3 called. No debate about that. Home plate umpire tonight is Bill Miller. He's a crew chief. Alec Porter at first, Nick Marley at second, and Chris Guccione at third.
Well executed pitch. You can see Rhys Hoskins thinking that ball is going to stay away. It starts well off the plate and comes right back to the corner. That's how you take care of a club like this. You start it as a ball, bring it back to a strike. They're going to take a lot of pitches first time around. If you want them to swing the bat, that's how you pitch them. But it takes command in order to be able to do that.
Odubel Herrera, 18 home runs, 56 batted in. Just short of a 280 batter, drops it foul off to the third base side. He only had one hit, was on base twice last night, scored a run. Phillies beginning of play, sitting atop the National League East, 58 up, 44 down. They've won 3 in a row, and they picked up a game on the team behind them in the standings, Atlanta. Atlanta beaten by the Dodgers last night, so a 2.5 game lead for the Phillies. The Nationals have won 2 straight, but remain 7 back. And for the Nationals, the 2-game win streak pulls them to an even 500 mark.
It also appears that the Phillies have picked themselves up a new player as well, and Asdrubal Cabrera.
That was a story we were hearing just before we went on the air tonight. Of course, Cabrera spent most of his career with the Cleveland Indians, most recently with the New York Mets.
It used to be where you did not have trades inter-division because you didn't want to see the guy that you traded away come back to haunt you. That doesn't really matter much anymore. If you make a trade and you can get what you think you need to get in return, they're pulling the trigger.
1-2 on Herrera. Herrera was one of a couple of players that was in fact still around going back to 2015. It's when Herrera first came up to the big leagues, and in his career he's 3 out of 3 against DeSclafani. Votto to the bag. Now a rundown play.
Oh boy.
Well, I tell you, the Reds have just completely botched multiple rundown plays. I mean, Votto's throw right there from the start set the whole tone, because it gave the runner a chance now to start getting back and forth before really closing the gap between them.
A rundown is just part of fundamental baseball, and you have to be able to execute it. The Reds have not been able to do that, and it's not the first time.
We talked about it the other night when they botched the rundown play in the first inning. You know, when Romano was on the mound, he wound up getting out of that jam on a nice play by Phillip Urban in right field. We talked about that play last night, but you know, everybody has their own particular thing that really gets under their skin. For Riggleman, and maybe for just about every other manager, but it seems like for him, fundamentals have to be handled well.
Well, you would not think that you would have to work on rundown plays at a big league level. That's just not something that you normally see botched.
So now an extra out given to the Phillies, and it's Santana. He's 3 for 5 in his career against DeSclafani. Those, of course, came during his days with the Cleveland Indians. All 3 hits doubles. Good pitch on the inside corner. And it's 2-2 on Carlos Santana. Did he go? They appeal down to third. Didn't look like he did. He did not on the appeal. So a full count. Votto will back up behind the runner over at first. And Hernandez will get started over there. Drop foul and out of play off to the third base side. Second walk of the inning issued by DeSclafani. And he has been missing consistently the left-handed batters up and away here in the early going of this game. Both Hernandez and Santana. And that'll bring Michael Franco to the plate. One of those three Phillies to hit a pair of home runs in a game here last night. Strike one. Phillies just come in white hot. They've won 17 now of their last 25. They're 26-14 since June the 10th. They have the second best winning percentage in the National League, second only to the National League Central Division leading Chicago Cubs. Cubbies are 18 games over 500, and the Phillies at 14 over.
It's a good pitch by DeSclafani there following the breaking ball. Right on the inside corner, and it had some run in as well.
Got him swinging to end the inning. 2 strikeouts in, 2 walks in the inning, 2 left on base in the inning. Reds are coming up when we come back. Starting lineup tonight, they'll go with Peraza at short, Jeanette at second, Votto at first, Suarez at third, Barnhart catching, Duvall in left, Williams his first start in right, DeSclafani in the 8th spot, Billy Hamilton number 9. Big, tall right-hander is Nick Pivetta.
Nick Pivetta's first 2 innings, he's given up half of his runs in the first and the second inning. After that, he's thrown the ball awfully well. So it'll be important for the Reds to put some pressure on this right-hander early in the ball game.
And Pivetta comes in not pitching well at all right now. He had a run of 8 starts where the ERA was right around 3.5, and that was until the last 3.5 weeks. His last 5 starts, really almost a full month. His ERA is over 7. And if you want to even dig into the numbers and pretty split them down the middle almost, look at March through May and then June and July. Nowhere close to the same guy. How does that happen?
I think a lot of it has to do with getting in a bad habit, getting in a rut, and not being able to make the adjustment to get out of it. A lot of times it could be facing lineups loaded with left-handed batters. He has a difficult time with left-handed hitters. Sometimes it just may be execution. You try to overcompensate and you make things worse.
It's where the Reds really miss a duo of Schebler and Winker. They had become 2 of the better offensive players over the last couple of months where the Reds have played so well. Schebler will come back and Winker not until next season. For the meantime, Peraza, boy, you start going back over the last 50 games this young man has played in. He has a hit in all but 10 of them. And during the 50 games, his batting average is .332. Scored 26 runs, getting some extra base hits. He's even driving in some runs. And he's become a much tougher out. Not striking out much at all.
I think for Peraza, just getting comfortable at one position has helped this kid tremendously. And still only 23 years of age. And I just think he has great hand-eye coordination. It's just a matter of getting relaxed a little bit and being comfortable in your own skin. Now some players pick it up right away. Some it takes a little bit of time.
There you see the strikeout rate. We talked about it with Peraza. He's had a couple of streaks where he's gone 40, 50, 60, 70 plate appearances without a strikeout. This will be the 8th pitch of this at bat coming up. 7 of them so far with Scooter waiting and then Votto. Breaking ball, strike 3. That was a pitch, the upper part of the strike zone.
More of the curveball variety. You can see the overspin, kind of the knuckle curve, if you will, from Nick Pivetta. Doesn't have a whole lot of break to it, but it does catch the top of the strike zone, according to home plate umpire Bill Miller.
That brings Scooter Jeanette to the plate. .317 batter, 16 home runs, 63 batted in. Had a hit his first time up last night, went 1 for 4 in the game, and scored on the Suarez home run in the first inning. Strike 1. Pivetta was a rookie a season ago and had a solid year. Among major league rookies, he was #1 in strikeouts per 9 innings. He strikes out a lot of guys. Had the 4th most starts through 133 innings. He had a good first year.
Fastball, slider, curveball. Fastball is pretty straight. And if you have a straight fastball, you've got to stay out of the middle of the plate.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and that is very much the MO on Pivetta, who coming into the game in 101 innings had fanned 122 batters.
Great separation in velocity between the previous pitch, a backdoor slider that caught the outside corner at the bottom of the strike zone, 87 miles an hour. And then that straight fastball with a little bit of hop to it, elevated right over the top of the outside corner at 97.
So here's Joey, batting average at 283, 9 home runs and 50 runs batted in. Votto had hits in each of his final 2 at-bats here last night. Had basically a pop-up down the right field line that fell in for a single. Then his next time up, he hammered one through the shift, which the Phillies put on him right now with 3 infielders between the first and second base bags.
Quite a few backdoor breaking balls to both Jeanette and now here to Votto. Maybe that will be Pavetta's game plan here against some of these left-handers in the Reds lineup. There it is again.
Well, it's just so interesting how teams make decisions to attack certain players. And Chris and I talked about this every time the Reds play the Cardinals. For years and years and years, all they do is pound Votto relentlessly with fastballs in. And yet here you have the team that comes in right behind the Cardinals. And we've not seen that in any form or fashion.
Got a fastball in on Votto there, but for the most part, they've attacked him with backdoor breaking balls and elevated fastballs.
Two. Another breaking ball, and that one misses outside. Pavetta thought maybe caught the corner. Full count.
Of course, you did have a kid making his major league debut yesterday, so you kind of throw that one out a bit.
And he strikes out the side in the opening inning. Good start for Pavetta. No score at the end of 1.
Heavy on pitching for obvious reasons. Keuri Maya was scheduled to start for the Louisville Bats tonight. He's made 19 starts this season. He comes up to help out in the bullpen for the Reds. Wandy Peralta returns to the Reds after 13 appearances for the Bats. And Austin Bryce and Kyle Crockett, after covering 4 innings last night in that game, all move out. And Cowboy, this is what happens when a bullpen has to account for 8 innings the way the Reds did here last night.
Well, I think especially when you have a guy like Michael Lorenzen that had to pitch 4 innings in last night's ball game, you really lose him for a couple of days. That's the reason Maya is here to cover just in case you have to have a long man. I think it is exciting that you get Wandy Peralta back. His last 4 outings in AAA, he did not walk a batter. And when we have seen Peralta on his game, he has been outstanding at the back end of the Reds bullpen. He just had some control issues earlier in the season.
Nick Williams, 2 home runs in the game here last night. This young man just getting warmed up. Over the last month, a .333 batter, has 5 home runs, an on-base percentage of .430. He's really becoming a force right now in this Philadelphia lineup.
It is a little bit concerning here early in the game for DeSclafani, and you mentioned this in the first inning. When he is missed with his fastball, he's missing a lot of pitches arm side up and away from these left-handed batters. Got a swing there, though.
Got a swing on a fastball up in the strike zone, and that's the 3rd strikeout tonight for DeSclafani.
You see, this pitch starts at the hands of Nick Williams and then runs up and away. That is some major movement on the fastball.
Here's a shortstop, Kingery. He's got a .236, 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in. First pitch swinging, drops it foul off to the first base side and out of play.
Out of all of the hitters in this Philly lineup, Kingery doesn't quite fit the mold. He doesn't take a lot of pitches. He doesn't walk a whole lot. He's up there hacking, but he is a very young player.
So you think all of a sudden he finds himself on the bench now with the acquisition of Corrado?
Well, I would think that's probably what they're looking at. I think that the Phillies really love this kid. They love his energy. They think he's going to be a great player, and he can play pretty much all over the place.
Swing and a miss, and another strikeout back-to-back for DeSclafani, and 4 of them already in the game.
Almost appears as though DeSclafani's game plan here today is to run the ball up in the strike zone. That's really counter to what we normally see from DeSclafani, who likes to use the sinker down around the kneecaps. And maybe he will go back to that the second time through this Philly lineup. Slider's been awfully good.
Now Jorge Alfaro. Strike 1.
But I do not see Tucker, when he sets up behind the plate, holding his mitt up around the chest. He's still got his mitt down low. So maybe these are just fortunate misses for DeSclafani here early.
Yeah, the only time he had it up was that final pitch to Williams, that I can remember anyway. Down low there for that fastball at 93 that ran in on the hands and fouled away by Alfaro. DeSclafani trying to do what Pavetta did in the first inning, and that is strike out the side. He's a strike away, ahead 0-2. And that's out. He does fan the side. How about that? Williams, Kingery, Alfaro gone. No score.
Got the fastball working.
$82.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer. Well, here comes Mr. Suarez. All eyes zeroed in on him tonight. Trying to match a franchise record by hitting a home run in 5 consecutive games, and it's our Elk and Elk storyline. 7 times it's been done, most recently by Jay Bruce in 2016. Look at some of the names. We'll put them back up there again.
It's pretty good company.
Yeah, Adam Dunn there, Mesoraco, and Ken Griffey Jr., Johnny Bench. George
Big clue.
Thoreau, and big clue indeed, going back to 1954. Whole pile of breaking balls early on here from Pivetta. Struck out the side in the first inning.
And it's breaking balls whether you've got a lefty up there or a right-handed hitter.
Fastball there runs way inside to run the count full on the Eugenio Suarez.
I would bet he comes back with a slider here.
High fly ball. Did he get enough of it? Suarez has homered in 5 in a row. Holy Moses, can you believe it? Boy, what a force this young man has become the last 2 seasons. Wow.
3-2 breaking ball. You try to get it over the plate. And instead of that nasty one down off the plate that we saw swing and misses, he leaves that one right in the heart. That was crushed. I think Billy's happier than Eugenio.
Well, they both have great smiles. They both love to smile. Both of them fun to be around. 5 straight games with a home run now for Suarez. So he'll have a chance tomorrow to become the first Red ever to do 1 game better than that. Vince Velasquez will pitch tomorrow for the Philadelphia Phillies. He is a right-hander and having a pretty decent year. 8th time in franchise history. We gave you those names a moment ago, and now you can add the name Eugenio Suarez. Strike 3 called to Tucker. He was called out twice last night.
Pivetta, it seems like his game plan against the left-handers tonight, backdoor breaking balls, fastballs up under the hands. And so far it's been effective. He's got 3 strikeouts with that game plan.
Nothing in 1 on Adam. And we talked briefly last night, a little bit tonight, about how much the Reds miss those left-handed bats, starting outfielders in Schebler and Winker. I mean, neither one was playing every day. Winker was about as close as you can get, and Schebler not far behind. And now all of a sudden, neither one is here. Jesse finished for the year. Schebler down at Louisville right now. But it's coincided, their absence, with Duvall and Hamilton falling back into a really, really tough stretch again. Neither one of them hitting it all right now, and that's already 5 strikeouts in this game for Pavetta, and he's losing 1-0.
Well, I think the Reds, when you look at their club, not only did they start pitching better when they went on that winning streak, but they inserted Schebler into the leadoff spot, and it seemed to really energize this club. And you had Winker in a more relative RBI spot, and he hit well in that spot as to boot.
Sure did. He was knocking in nearly a run per game for about a month. Mason Williams taps out. Suarez in the record books with 7 others. He'll try and be there all by himself tomorrow. Sunday, thanks to our real good friends over at Klosterman Bakery. You can get half-price Reds tickets. We have the live mascot races, face painters, a lot going on. And this Sunday, kids 14 and younger get a team baseball card set thanks to Cons. 1-0 Pavetta. Yes, he will lead off the Philadelphia third. Reds with a 1-0 lead on the home run from Eugenio Suarez. That's right. If you're just tuning in, 5 games in a row now for Suarez. Well, you know, with Sampson, it was the length of the hair, right, Cowboy? Maybe with Suarez, it's the color of the hair.
Well, he's changed it up a couple of times.
Has. I mean, he looked like Sparky Anderson in spring training, right?
I think he's just awfully comfortable, and with that comfort comes confidence.
And we talk about it all the time. He is just such a delightful young man to be around. Always smiling, seems to always be in a good mood. And look, there are days I'm sure he's not, but I haven't seen it. Have you?
He comes to play. And we've talked about this several times. I think his influence on Jose Peraza has been tremendously positive. And I think that's part of a big reason that Peraza has been able to make the strides that he's made, not only fielding at shortstop, but as you were describing early, offensively.
Cesar Hernandez walked in the first inning. Cubs and Cardinals are getting together again this weekend. They were the first series at Wrigley Field after the All-Star break, played a 5-gamer over 4 days. Chicago winning 3 of the 5. They'll get together in St. Louis tonight. It's always a great rivalry. 6 strikeouts now for DeSclafani. Paints the outside corner.
Well, that pitch to Alfaro to end the second inning almost seemed to change the arm slot drive for DeSclafani, because that is about as good of a backdoor breaking ball as you can execute it right there.
Already matches his season best. He's got it working here tonight. You know, it's funny, the best game he pitched this year, DeSclafani, that was 3 starts ago, you may remember, when he went 7 innings, allowed 5 hits and a run. That was in Cleveland. And DeSclafani said after the game, I had nothing out there tonight. And Barnhart even confirmed that when they asked Tucker about it. He said, you know, he didn't have anything working worth a hoot all night long, but we just kept throwing fastballs and kept getting outs, and the next thing you know, it's 7 innings and 1 run.
Well, the benefit that you have as a sinker ball pitcher, and that's what DeSclafani is, when you don't have your best velocity, the ball has a tendency to have even more movement. And if you can adjust your sight lines to the plate with that movement, it's not about velocity, it's just about fooling the hitter.
One and 2 on Rhys Hoskins. Fastball up. Anthony walked 2 of the first 4 batters in this game, but then got a strikeout of Franco to end the first inning. And he's trying to make it 7 straight batters retired. Coming up later on, presented by Miller Lite, we'll have our whole true moment of the game.
Oh, that was awfully close.
Yep.
Good job by Hoskins not to take a swing at that pitch, because it starts on the plate, and look where this ends up. I mean, not far off the outside edge.
Hot smash by Suarez into left field, and that'll be a single for Hoskins. First hit of the night for the Phillies.
Looked like DeSclafani went back to the breaking ball, and this time it stayed right on the outside corner and away, and the big fella Hoskins still got the barrel to it, and he hit a bullet.
Took a funny hop on Suarez as well. That last bounce, he had the glove in the position to make the play, and it looks like it just came up high on him.
Anytime you throw a slider away from a right-handed hitter and the big fellas are able to get out and hook it, it's got that big time top spin to it. Makes it tough on your corner infielders.
Now Herrera. You know, every time I see this guy, Cowboy, I think of the way you used to wear your hair. And, you know, you had the mullet going, and you like the mullet. I mean, you'll be a guy that admitted it, right?
Yeah, I'd wear it again now. But I don't think my kids would be around me too good.
All right, but when, you know, when I see the coloring at the very end of that length in the back, and I think to myself, did you ever consider any sort of a highlight down in the back end of the mullet?
No, I know guys that did.
Yeah.
But that was not in my category. Oh, that's a good pitch.
Would you consider it now?
Well, not now. I mean,
your kids actually might like that.
Well, they might, but I mean that's kind of for the guys on the field, for the younger guys, younger generation.
Yeah, but you could sort of be a trendsetter, as you have been many other areas for the broadcast world.
Oh boy,
that ball is scalded into right center field. Holy moly!
That's a reach over.
Yep.
And Reds might want to look at that.
I have a feeling you're right. That young man made a good play.
Yeah, he did.
It's a home run, but we'll see what Jim Riggleman elects to do. And I think this would be a crew review, because this is why instant replay was put into place in the first place with Major League Baseball. To determine home runs, did they clear the wall, reach over, stuff like this, fair or foul? Let's see. Oh, yeah. I got a feeling this is coming back. Looked like that young man made that play leaning. That's a good play. Don't feel bad, young man. You did what everybody else would do. Don't give it a second thought. Big time play, Cowboy.
Pretty good catch.
That's really good play.
Now, if you're in Chicago or New York, you may need an escort. Out of here.
He didn't do anything. He was just trying to get the baseball. Might even help his team.
Well, that was going to be my next comment. If that ball hits off of the wall, Hoskins may score from first base.
That angle's not as good as the other one we showed you, where you could actually see where the fence is compared to where his glove is when he caught it, but we'll see. Trying to predict how they see it in New York, and that's,
wow.
It's a home run. I'm surprised, but
I am too.
Again.
I think in that instance, it's just very hard to say conclusively that the ball is out or not. I mean, you're asking a replay official to make basically a general assumption of where the ball would have been when the kid made contact with it. Of course, the Reds not real happy in that first base dugout right now.
So just to make the point, Jim Riggleman did not challenge that call. It is a crew review. So if the Reds want to have a play looked at later on, they still have it in their pocket. So the Phillies jump in front 2-1. That's 15 home runs DeSclafani has allowed in 50 innings. I'm not sure you'll see a baseball hit harder than that ball was right there by Herrera. That ball was tattooed. Now, did it have a big launch angle on it or anything like that? No. But it was a missile.
Well, the thing that you have to do now, if you're Anthony DeSclafani, it's not about stuff. You don't have to throw a better breaking ball or a better fastball. You've just got to continue to locate. You made a bad pitch, you just move on. What is amazing, though, when you really think about it, we've had 3 hits here tonight. 2 of them have been home runs.
Here we go again, right? DeSclafani strikes out Santana. That's a season best 7 of them, but Herrera with a 2-run home run, and the Phillies lead 2-1.
concert series, Cincinnati's own Walk the Moon, performed live on the field tomorrow night. And if you've got a ticket to the game, you've got a ticket to the concert, the post-game show from Walk the Moon. For tickets, you can go to reds.com/concerts. Remember, that game tomorrow, you may see it a few months ago as a 7 o'clock start. It's a 6:40 start for the game tomorrow night, the concert afterwards. And I know Tom has been looking forward to Walk the Moon for some time now.
Well, Brian, I got to tell you, they performed during the All-Star game, and they were big league. I've heard a couple of their tunes that were big hits, #1 hits across the country on the radio, and kids listen to them and all that kind of thing. They're good, and they're fun, and it will be a fun show Saturday night, tomorrow night. DeSclafani gone on strikes to open up the Reds' 3rd inning. Look at Philadelphia on defense. Told you, after you bang out 7 home runs, you score 9 runs, you get 18 hits, you're not making changes anywhere. And Gabe Kapler hasn't. Same group we saw at every position last night.
Well, there's a reason that the Phillies are in first place. It's not because they've lucked into it or because their division is weak. They played good baseball. And if there is a deficiency in anything for this Phillies club, is that they've had a tough time catching the baseball. But when you hit 7 home runs, you don't much have to worry about that a whole lot. Of course, it does vastly benefit the Reds offense when Hamilton, hitting in that 9th spot, can get aboard and not do that, because that way you roll the order over. You've got Peraza and Jeanette coming up, and you've got a speedster on base.
Nine batters have come to the plate against Pivetta here tonight. He has struck out all but 2. Total of 14 strikeouts in this game already. And this is what baseball, to be honest with you, is very worried about. And Rob Manfred talked about it at length during the All-Star game this year. And the ever-increasing percentage of plate appearances in Major League Baseball games where the outcome is either walk, strikeout, or home run. There's a base hit down the left field line, and that'll be an easy 2-base hit for Jose Peraza.
Now I will go back to the at-bat by Billy Hamilton. If Hamilton is on first base with that hit, he scores from first base, and we have a tie ball game. That's how important it is for Hamilton to get aboard.
Scooter Jeanette's been getting big 2-out hits all year long. That's been his MO. He has been lights out in these situations.
And he's been good hitting breaking balls, and that's what Pivetta is really feeding these left-handed hitters for the Reds. Those backdoor breaking balls, and that's what that first pitch was, right on the outside corner.
Jeanette nearly a .330 batter, hitting with 2 outs and runners in scoring position on the year. But now Pavetta has him around the neck. And no balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs in the inning. Down the left field line, but foul.
Every pitch in this at bat has been away from Jeanette. Backdoor breaking ball and then 2 fastballs up.
And Scooter delivers yet again. It was a breaking ball, and Jeanette drives in. His 64th run of the year to tie this game at 2. Gosh, has he been money.
By far the toughest times to get an RBI with 2 outs. And a curveball that spins in the middle of the plate, and Jeanette did not miss it.
Breaking ball, a strike to Joey Votto. He struck out in the first inning.
I'm surprised that Pavetta went to the curveball when he has been so good with that backdoor slider. He looks like he could throw that in his sleep.
Especially when you also consider the fact that you brought it up before the at-bat ever occurred, is that Jeanette has just destroyed breaking pitches all year long, and you had him 0-2. You know, you want to bury that slider down around the back foot, right?
Yeah.
Like that. And Jeanette will advance on to second base. That'll be a wild pitch.
I love to watch the eyes of great hitters. Votto there. Yes, 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 no. And you could tell that it was no really early before the ball got to the swing zone.
For Votto, first walk given up by Pavetta.
Now this is where Pavetta has had issues. Now granted, he did get the first 2 outs of the inning, back-to-back strikeouts, but he has had problems in innings this year in tough ball games or in his bad ball games where 1 or 2, maybe an error behind him or 1 or 2 hits, and he lets it escalate into a 4 or 5 run inning.
We've seen that with Red starter Luis Castillo.
There are certain points in time where you have to bow your neck, and you better bow your neck with this fella at the plate.
Suarez, a home run for the 5th consecutive game. That came leading off the second inning tonight for the Reds, and now he has a chance to put him in front again. His home run made it 1-0. Herrera homered in the top of the 3rd with a man aboard. And now the Reds with 2-out action. They get a double by Peraza, single by Jeanette, walk to Votto.
Alfaro wants a fastball in. Pavetta wants a breaking ball, and he stepped off twice.
StatCast A1, AI powered by AWS.
Well, it was definitely a breaking ball that Suarez hit out of the ballpark. And that was a breaking ball on the first pitch. So Pavetta got his way, but he threw that ball almost in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. And they just cannot get on the same page, Pavetta and Alfaro. And that tells me right now, Pavetta's thinking way too much right now.
What do you mean by that?
You've got a hitter at the plate, and now this is I had a feeling Kranitz was going to come out. You can see the wheels spinning. You start to apply too much pressure to yourself on the mound instead of just executing pitches. You've got a guy at the plate that is a very good breaking ball hitter. Your best pitch tonight has been the breaking ball. The breaking ball that Suarez hit out was not a good breaking ball. It was a hanging breaking ball. So you've got to execute. I think right now Rick Kranitz is just trying to slow down the thought process of Pivetta on the mound. Of course, if I'm a Eugenio Suarez, I'm looking dead fastball. I hit a breaking ball out last time. He's not going to throw me another breaking ball for a strike. I'm looking heater, and I'm looking for it middle in.
Room a slider. And a good one.
I think he's looking fastball. He was trying to make sure he'd get that hit out.
Well, especially when you throw in the count as
well.
2-0. Yeah. Another slider.
Of course, Pivetta may be comfortable just pitching to Tucker Barnhart with the bases loaded here.
And this one is in the air to left field, drifting over and making the running grab.
Well, I thought he got it for a minute there.
For a minute. I did too, but you could see by Hoskins giving chase that he knew he had to play. Reds tied up 2-2. Votto Funko Pop, thanks to Ram Trucks. 500 lucky fans will receive a limited edition gold Joey Votto Funko Pop. And don't forget Walk the Moon after the game tomorrow night on the field. For tickets, visit Reds.com.
You guys did tell Jim Day that that's not a popsicle, right?
Yes, we did. Because we know how he is. Especially when it comes to Joey Votto. I mean, that is well documented. Friendship those two have had below these many, many years. It's good stuff. I want to know where they're going to make that 7 scoop. Is it 7 or 8?
8.
when they're going to make the 8-scoop Jeff Brantley bobblehead. If they do another bobblehead of you, they have to do it with the 8 scoops of UDF ice cream.
You never know.
I think that'd be the way to do it.
UDF's got to come to the party.
Well, they'd be there. We know that. Short right field. Williams will track it down, and that'll take care of Fonco to begin the Philadelphia 4th in a 2-2 game. Or, you know, maybe they could have a concession item of maybe a cowboy hat that holds 8 scoops of ice cream and call it the Cowboy. What do you think about that?
Well,
Dream Weaver, our producer, came up with that idea.
I would order that. I would eat it all with a smile on my face.
We may have to do that. We have to talk to the folks here at the ballpark about adding that as a concession item. Line drive caught by Williams. Boy, Nick Williams seems everything he swings at right now that he's making contact with anyway is a rocket somewhere.
Seems to like that ball middle in and not missing it. A lot of left-handed hitters, that down and in pitch, whether it be a sinker or a slider, they just have a tendency to drop the bat head right to it.
Here's Kingery. First 2 retired by DeSclafani in the 4th. Ball 1. Kingery struck out swinging his first time up. Brewers and the Giants will team up later tonight out in San Francisco. That's a 4-game series. A Brew Crew winning the opener last night. Milwaukee 2.5 behind front-running Chicago. Cubs and Cardinals just getting started in St. Louis. And the Pirates, after winning 11 in a row, have lost 2 in a row, and they're trailing in the 4th inning tonight to the Mets at home. A 3-2 game. 3-1 on Kingery. Certainly the Phillies are keeping an eye on the Dodgers and the Braves. 1-1 in the 3rd, and the Nationals have jumped out in front of Miami 4-0 in the 5th. 3-2 to Kingery.
Well, he got Kingery to chase a fastball up and in his last time at the plate. Yeah, you'd like to do that, but it's a 3-2 count. If he takes it, you're walking. So you've got an execute a pitch somewhere in the strike zone.
Little flare to short center field. Billy's there, and it's a 1-2-3-4 for DeSclafani. 2-2 game.
night at Great American Ballpark that we had the Reds Community Fund Telethon, highlighting so many of the fantastic things that the Reds, the Community Fund, do in the community. Well, this is everyone. Manager Jim Riggleman at the Reds Rookie Success League this week, and this is on the day of a game, spending time with kids in the morning, as was Sal Romano after a start. And so you can say it, you can tell people that everyone is involved, that everyone is committed. You see pictures like that, you know that they are. And the running total right now, guys, just under $160,000 raised for the Community Fund.
Great stuff, Brian. Thank you for bringing us up to speed on that. I know a lot of folks were asking about that. And we begin the bottom half of the fourth inning with a base hit off the bat of Tucker Barnhart into left field. Fourth hit of the game for the Reds against Pavetta. He's walked one, struck out 7.
Looked like Barnhart's game plan coming to the plate was just to take the ball the other way. We have seen Pavetta time and time again with these left-handers. Backdoor sliders, fastballs out there, an occasional fastball in. But for the most part, it's just been down and away.
Saw those numbers on this Reds offense. Our Lowe's whole team together among the top 3 clubs in the league in batting average and on base percentage. Been a long time since you've been able to say that. Duvall struck out looking his first time up. And behind here 0-2. That guy you just give that kid like a head fake on that ball?
I was not sure. I couldn't quite tell what was going on.
I mean, he's holding the ball, and then it looked like he was giving it to the kid, and then he kind of, I mean, they're probably all sitting together. What difference does it make? But, yeah, they're all hanging out together. Of course, Votto loves doing that kind of thing when the Reds are in Philadelphia.
Don't you know it?
That's good stuff, man. Fun.
And they give it to him.
Oh, man. You know you played there.
I did.
They give it to you?
Oh, they give it to everybody.
That ball down the left field line. That is a fair ball. Tucker on his way to third. They'll probably hold him there. Yeah. On a double by Duvall. Now the Reds got something going here. Second and third, nobody out.
Another breaking ball that left right in the, well, he left it right over the plate. See this ball spin out of his hand? It just stays right there. A spinning breaking ball that is on the inside or the outside corner, more times than not, you can get away with it. When it spins in the middle of the plate, especially middle away, oh, you better duck.
All right, so here's a 26-year-old Mason Williams. Drafted all the way back in 2010 by the Yankees and has a chance now, and this is his first start as a Red, to make a statement here. Infield is in, second and third, none out.
And he was hitting
25 games in the big league.
He was hitting 280 in Louisville.
He played in each of the last 3 years with a big league club in New York. I mean, you know, virtually no playing time. He played in 8 games, 21 at bats in 15. 12 games, 27 at bats in 16. Last year, only 5 games for the New York Yankees. I mean, at one time, this guy was the number 2 ranked prospect in their entire organization. Reds taking a flyer on him this spring. been hurt a lot. 2012, 15, 16, 3 times, including the 60-day DL. And that ball in the other right field. Mason Williams, welcome to Cincinnati.
Live and die by the breaking ball for Nick Pivetta. It was strikeout city early in the ball game, and that breaking ball is now spinning right in the heart of the plate, and now it's hammer city.
Second career home run for Williams. For more on Mason, how about it, Brian Giesenslaw?
Well, Tom, that's got to be one of the high points for Mason Williams so far in the bigs. But his dad, Derwin Williams, reached the mountaintop in the National Football League. He was a member of the Patriots in the mid-'80s, a receiver and special teamer who played in the Super Bowl for New England. Unfortunately, that Patriots team ran into the '85 Bears and Buddy Ryan's defense and Mike Ditka. But his dad plays football. He said he played football, baseball, and basketball coming up. His dad's a big fan, but Mason told me yesterday, he said, I think I chose the right sport for me.
I'm sure he did. Pretty cool. Dad played in the NFL, and he's playing in the big leagues. His last home run came all the way back in June of 2015 with the Yankees against Baltimore, in Baltimore. DeSclafani out of there on strikes for the first out of the inning. Cowboy, I got to ask you, though, and you've been talking about this all night long. It's not like Pivetta, you know, he might not have a lot of movement on the fastball, but it's not like he's throwing at 87 miles an hour.
97.
Yeah, I mean, how do you completely stay away from the fastball?
I think there are times that he's probably had some ball games, and we were talking about this earlier. He's had some ball games where he's run into trouble with that straight fastball. Well, you don't just totally go away from your fastball. You can't do it. Now, if you're pitching out of the bullpen and you're throwing one inning, yeah, you can fire that slider over and over again. But you've got to be able to have something with some velocity to keep the hitters honest. And he just totally went away from his fastball for a while there.
Pair of home runs in the game for the Reds tonight. Suarez, and now a 3-run big fly from Williams, and a 3-run lead. Hamilton out of there swinging for the second straight time. 9 strikeouts for Pivetta here in 3 2/3 innings. The only 2 outs that weren't strikeouts, a ground out by Williams in the second and a fly ball by Suarez in the third.
I think ultimately it comes down to pitch selection, not so much execution, because he's been able to spot that backdoor breaking ball quite well here tonight. But when you throw it over and over and over again, sooner or later you're going to hang one. And in this league, they don't usually miss it. And to be honest with you, that ball, the second ball that Suarez hit down the left field line, that was a breaking ball he missed with. He got really lucky that that ball didn't get out of here at that point in time.
Peraza struck out in the first inning looking, and then had that 2-out double and wound up scoring on a 2-out hit from Jeanette. 1-1 to Peraza. Popped up weakly behind the bag. But Mason Williams, we said he had a chance to make a statement, and oh my, did he. local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Oh, what a beautiful look right there. Sunset in the Queen City.
It's be a big inning for Anthony DeSclafani here. You get that big 3-run home run. Your team has taken really the air out of the balloon of this Philadelphia club with that 3-run jack. Now you've got to begin to close the door, if you will.
Suarez knocks it down and not going to be able to get Alfaro. So he gets up the line pretty well for a big man, and he is a big man.
That's normally a play we see Suarez make. I think the swing and the speed off the bat fooled Suarez a little bit. You can see him get a bit off balance there, and then the ball comes out of his glove.
There's a bunt that will be put down by Pavetta, advancing Alfaro on to second, 1 out in the inning. Here's Hernandez in their strike. He's 0 for 1, walked leading off the game, and then struck out looking against Anthony in the 3rd. Pulled foul, and DeSclafani ahead at 0-2. I was asking the question earlier, Cowboy, with the acquisition of Asdrubal Cabrera from the New York Mets. Phillies making that deal before the game. You know, when we saw the Mets, he was playing second base.
Right.
Now, there's no way they're moving Hernandez.
No, Cabrera's going to play shortstop for the Phillies. And that adds a pretty good bat to already what we've seen to be a potent lineup.
Yeah, and you know, you have to wonder what it does to their defense. I'm not suggesting Kingery's going to win a Gold Glove, but we documented that certainly has been an Achilles heel for this Philadelphia team. I mean, yeah, they're 14 games over 500, but you know, they're at a point now where you're competing every day to stay in the hunt. But you are where you are, and we are where we are, meaning closing in on August the 1st.
Right.
You got to start looking now at, okay, how are we shaping up to finish strong to get into the playoffs, and then where are we in the playoffs?
Well, what I think it does also is it allows you to at least give a guy like Hernandez a breather when you need to.
That's a great point.
Because Cabrera can play both sides. We know from conversations that we've had with some of the Philly folks that Hernandez has been beat up a little bit.
Yeah, fouled the ball off his foot.
He's their leadoff guy, and he's going to go out and play because that's how he is. But at least if you're Gabe Kapler, you have options. At this point in time, you don't have many. And it's not as though they're going to take Kingery and put him on the bench and he's not going to play at all. He's still going to get a little bit of playing time here and there. And I don't think that that's going to damage the psyche of the young kid.
Broken back. What a pick by Peraza. And safe to call it first.
That was a great play by Peraza, and if not for the excellent speed of Hernandez, it would have really turned out to be a great play.
Boy, what an effort.
I can't believe he got that much on the throw.
Well, now Danny Darwin going to make his way out to the mound.
When you look at where Peraza was, by the time he ended up, he's in short right field.
Yeah. And clearly the correct call.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing about Danny Darwin. When that guy comes out, first and foremost, he's a presence when he walks out there. And secondly, there is no situation that any pitcher could ever be in
that he hasn't
that he has not been in multiple times, because we've documented all the games he pitched in the major leagues, both as a starter and a reliever. Just had an outstanding major league career, a long career.
I think, too, that Darwin has the unique ability to understand what a starter's going through, but he also knows what his bullpen goes through, because he's done it all.
Right.
And he knows when to dial it up, when to push the envelope a little bit with his guy. He also knows when to try to make him comfortable and cool it down a bit.
All right, so here's Hoskins representing the tying run. And we know that he's more than capable of tying things up with one swing of the bat. His last 6 games, he's hit 6 home runs, knocked in 10, and added 3 doubles. Had the 2 home runs here last night. He has Alfaro at third and Hernandez at first.
That is a pitch for Anthony DeSclafani that is really tough on a right-handed batter. The comeback fastball starts just off the outside corner and comes back to the outside corner. It looks like a ball until the last 1.5 to 2 feet to the plate.
Into center field, a base hit, and that makes it a 5-3 game.
That's just good hitting. And watch where this ball starts. That's off the plate away, and Hoskins is right on it. Now, granted, it's back-to-back fastballs out there, but that's executing at the plate.
They're going to take DeSclafani out of this game, and we're in the 5th inning. I am stunned. I am stunned. I think he is too. Especially on the heels of getting 1 inning out of your starter last night. All right, our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Amir Garrett will come on. Giving up 3 hits and a run so far here in the 5th inning. He has a 5-3 lead, but his night's over. Can't win the game. Only allowed 5 hits. Struck out 7. All of those came in the first 3 innings. He walked 2. Both of those came in the first inning. And now Amir Garrett to face Odubel Herrera. Garrett was extraordinarily good the first 2 months of his season. He has been far less than that over the last month in their strike.
Well, the key for Garrett is the execution of the breaking ball. When he's trying to overthrow the fastball, that's when he's got himself into trouble.
See, against the lefties, Herrera's actually been better than he has against the right-handers. 291 batter against left-handed pitching. Well, he got chewed up with that pitch. That hit the bat.
No. He swung at that pitch.
Yeah, he did. They did on the appeal.
No. I don't care if that hits you or not. That can hit you in the throat, and if you swing, it's a strike.
Well, the home plate umpire said it hit the bat. You could hear it all the way up here.
Well, he was giving him first base.
Oh, really? I thought he was pointing that it hit the bat.
He was pointing to first until they checked at third. That should tell you he's cheating for a fastball.
1-2 to count. Got the breaking ball and is able to put the bat on it and foul it out of play.
Remember a guy by the name of Wendell Kim?
Oh, yeah, of course.
He was my manager in Double-A. He's having a pretty good year. We get into the second half. I had a ball game where I gave up a lot of runs early in the game. Took me out. Not very happy with me. Next ball game, struggled a little bit. Got to the 5th inning, threw a lot of pitches, pulls me out of the game. He said, look, you want to start? He goes, you need to get out there and get the job done early.
It's going to be a tough play here. Garrett to the bag in time. Yes. What an athletic play by Garrett.
Only because he's 6'9". Wow. That's some pretty good foot reach right there.
Really good.
Looks like he might have jammed his leg into the bag. Phillies may challenge this one. But Wendell Kim, the next time out, I had a no-hitter at 4 2/3 innings. He comes to the mound and takes me out of the ball game. And when he came out to the mound, he said, if you want to be a starter, he goes, this is how I want you to pitch every time. And he said, I never want you to forget this moment. He took me out of the game. I tore the dugout up, but I never forgot it.
Yeah. Wow.
2 starts later, I struck out 16.
How about that?
It's a learning experience. Sometimes your manager is the guy that has to push the envelope. You don't have to like it, but he has to push you to be great. You have the talent if you're in the big leagues to be great. You need somebody to push you to get there if you can't push yourself.
Well, Garrett continued to.
Well, he hit that base awfully awkward. You know, if that's me running over there to get him, my foot hits about 2.5 feet short.
That's
of the
right.
bag.
Of
He's
course.
safe.
Well, I mean, they got to make a decision here on Garrett. You're either good enough to go or you're not. I mean, there's just a whole lot of looking around and nothing going on. Wow. I mean, he doesn't even look like he's walking with a limp.
Yeah, a little bit. The problem with Garrett is he's had the hip issue in the past, and that may be more so the issue than the foot.
All right, so we'll see what the Reds decide to do. Jim Riggleman's got to figure out who he wants to bring in. I mean, he was probably looking at Garrett and giving him at least 2 innings in this game tonight. After he got 1 inning out of his starter last night, Tyler Mahle. Nobody's even come out of the gate yet. Well, now it'll be David Hernandez. Of course, he'll have as much time as he needs to get loosened up. Hey, and by the way, before we go to break here a second, we promised before the game tonight the greatest third baseman in the history of Major League Baseball, Michael Jack Schmidt, the pride, of course, of Ohio University. We understand his mother, Lois Schmidt, just outside of Dayton, where Mike grew up, 92 years young, and she watches every single Reds game every single night. A hardcore Reds fan.
We love that, Lois.
Lois, we hope you're having a great night tonight, young lady, and your son's thinking about you.
92 years young.
God bless him. We'll take a break and back in a moment.
Hernandez on for the Redlegs, and you know what he's done on the field this season, but what he's done in the clubhouse and with some of the younger teammates is really special as well. Recently purchased suits for a number of his younger teammates.
I am definitely not a fashion type guy. You know, I'm learning from Billy with the shoes and you know, Joey and Matt with the suits. But I think I was the best dressed that night, definitely for sure.
Well, that night turned out to be the Reds Hall of Fame induction gala at the Convention Center. And he says he's not a fashion guy. You guys tell me what you think, given what David Hernandez has on that night. But he took some of the young pitchers, called in his tailor, and has asked them to pick a suit, and had suits made for half a dozen of his young teammates. And we'll hear from some of those guys later on. But big league move. Sal Romano, Amir Garrett, two of the players outfitted by the veteran David Hernandez, who said he did that because early in his career, a couple of veteran teammates did the same thing for him.
Hernandez is a good dude.
That's what you're supposed to do as a veteran player.
Jackson Stevens.
Yep, looking good.
What you do is you set the precedent. You take care of the guys just like guys took care of you that came before you. And they'll do the same as they get more time in the big leagues.
Tyler Mahle looking sharp.
It creates a bit more camaraderie among your teammates when you know somebody cares about you to actually pull out their wallet. And granted, these guys make a lot of money, but still it's really comes down to the thought, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Second and third here for the Phillies. This ball in foul ground, and it will be Barnhart. So Hernandez just keeps doing what he's done since being activated. This guy's been dynamite. Phillies get one. Reds lead by 2. The Cardinals from Busch Stadium. Coverage begins 3:30 Eastern on FS1. You can stream it live on the Fox Sports app. And if a Reds player hits a home run off that Toyota sign tonight, Aaron Jeremiah out in Batavia. I was out there today, Batavia, Ohio. He'd win that beautiful new Tundra. Thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. My wife and son were doing great work today out for one of the most wonderful organizations there is in our entire area, Inner Parish Ministries, and all the work they do for so many less fortunate people in and around the area. They've moved their operations out to Batavia, still have a spot in Newtown as well. But I mean, people came in from Mount Orab, from Georgetown, and just so grateful Ella and Luke were out there along with many, many others with IPM. If you're looking for a great charity organization, take a look at them. Great work.
I bought a pair of cowboy boots out there been about a couple of years ago.
Out off 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right down there on the level.
Yep.
A big time selection. I wish I could remember the name of the store. I know where it's at though.
And you know cowboy boots.
I do. That I do. May not know much about anything else, but I know cowboy boots.
Well, you said that rat quick, too, didn't you? Peraza draws a walk to begin the 5th inning.
You know, I did notice that as you were reading that Toyota Tundra home run card, I'm not sure if you realize that when I'm in here, when you read it, you say all fat Toyota sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you forgot the TH. But that's all right.
No, but that means you're rubbing up. That's a good thing. That's all right. You're right. It's okay. So normally I would say off
that Toyota
and I
sign.
said
all fat.
offensively. Yeah, I like that. I like your way better. I'm going to start doing that all the time.
Well, that's about the only way I know how to read it. Because if I try to say that, I'm going to mess up.
That's a fair ball, and that'll be a double play. Jeanette draws a walk, and Votto bounces into 2.
Well, you don't see that too often. Ground ball to the first baseman. He tags the bag and throws to the third baseman covering second base.
Oh, that's right. Well, our cricket smile play put a big smile on a lot of people's faces back in the second inning. Suarez didn't waste any time, making it a home run in 5 straight games, matching a Reds franchise record. 7 others have been down that road. No one has gone one more. He'll have a shot mañana. 1-1. Cubbies have jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the 3rd inning at Busch Stadium. And the Dodgers now in front of the Braves 4-1 in the 5th.
I like how you threw that Spanish tomorrow in there with Suarez.
Got to stick it in there just every now and again. You know, poquito. Poquito español.
Ooh, that got him.
Malo. Muy malo.
But all that gear on, that ball has a tendency to find flesh.
You're not kidding.
That's just the way it is. If you're a catcher, you better be a tough cat.
And basically, I mean, that thing's no more than what, a quarter, even the pad, the one that flaps over the shoulder. That strike 3 called, and Suarez knew it. 10 punch-outs in a game for Pivetta. But he's on the short end of a 5-3 game.
Dodger Stadium, and the late Ryan Friel steals 5 bases to set a Reds team record. He stole 36 that season. That was 3 straight seasons for Friel, stealing at least 36, but 5 in a single game. That was in 2005. Billy Hamilton also did it 3 years ago at Wrigley Field against the Cubs.
Well, he played hard.
He sure did.
He played hard.
And what a shame to lose him so young. David Hernandez to begin things here in the 6th inning against Franco. He'll be followed by Nick Williams and then Scott Kingery. Reds 5, Phillies 3. Mason Williams with a big blow in this one for the Redlegs. Broke a 2-2 tie with a 3-run home run to the seats and right in the Cincinnati 4th. straight up in the air. Every time a Philly hits it in the air, you're fearful it's going to go flying over the wall after what we saw here last night. What a win.
Stay out of the center of the plate.
See, if I'm a team in contention, and I really believe it, and I've always thought this, Cowboy, and you may totally disagree, and if you do, I get it. You know, if I'm the general manager of a team and I'm a team in the hunt, okay, now their situations can be different places, different times. You know, say the Cubs 3 or 4 years ago when they hadn't been to a World Series in 108 years, you know, maybe you got to do something just to get in the playoffs, right? But, you know, getting in is great, but if I'm the GM and I'm going to start going out to make moves, if I am, I got to believe my team has a legitimate chance to get to the World Series, right? By a move here and a move there, not just to get in. If I ran a team, this guy on the mound right here, I would be after hardcore. Now, obviously, I'm not going to give up my top 2 prospects to get him, anything like that. But I am making a hardcore push, calling the Cincinnati Reds regularly about guys in that bullpen like Hernandez
and Jared Hughes,
and a couple of others down there I'd be willing to talk about.
The only issue that I would differ with you in that comment is for a team like the Phillies that has lost so many ball games and they have made such a huge leap this year and they're in first place. I think that you, just because of what your players have done, it benefits your guys from a mental standpoint to know that the front office is with you.
No, that's why I said every situation's different. Right. And you're exactly right. That's a better example than the one I gave. I'm with you all the way.
Now, I'm not going out and trading Rhys Hoskins for Bryce Harper.
Right.
I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. But the addition of Asdrubal Cabrera is a nice addition to this club. Because what it does is it gives them a veteran shortstop and a guy that can swing the bat from both sides of the plate. And in their ballpark, some of the balls that are fly balls to the track in New York are home runs.
No question.
I think ultimately what the front office in Philadelphia is trying to do is raise the expectation of winning.
Hernandez a perfect 6th, and the Reds still with a 2-run lead.
It focuses on the lefty ace for the Red Sox, Chris Sale, tonight against the Twins. He reached 200 strikeouts for the season in just 136 innings pitched. That's the fastest to 200 strikeouts by any pitcher in American League history. That breaks his own record from a season ago when it took him a whopping 141 innings to fan 200 batters. That's Chris Sale.
Wow. To truly appreciate something like that, you have to watch that team play every 5 days. As a fan, watching the games on TV, listening on the radio, whatever the case may be, there's a slow roller. Kingery will throw out Barnhart. And, you know, we were talking last night, Cowboy, and the two guys I saw that were striking out 300 a year in Johnson and Schilling. I mean, you are talking multiple games. I mean, 20 games a year where those guys are punching out 10 or more batters. Sometimes 15, 17. We saw Johnson strike out 20 Reds in a game. 200 strikeouts. Brian, would you say how many innings was that he broke his own record? 100 and what?
Last year he did it in 141.
And he did it this year in what?
136.
Wow. 200 strikeouts in 136 innings. That is unbelievable. Good looking crew there. And now they have a souvenir. No, Big Brother's not giving that up. Come on. Now, Cowboy, if I'm sitting at home, and you know, you were using the example of Wendell Kim, it was such a great story about him taking you out of a ball game in the 5th inning when you're working on a no-hitter, and based on what had happened prior to that, a couple of starts. If I'm at home tonight and I'm sitting here saying, how is the Philadelphia starter still in the game when he's given up 5 runs and he's closing in on 100 pitches, and the guy from my team was right around 85 pitches and was out of the games 2 innings ago? There's a slider that Duvall chases and comes up empty, and that's 11 punch-outs now in the game for Pivetta.
I think every managerial decision is different. A lot of it depends on how you feel. If you're Gabe Kapler, about how your guys throwing the ball. I mean, let's face it, the 3-run home run is the difference in the ball game.
Sure.
But when DeSclafani was lifted, there were 3 out of 4 batters that had had hits, and it appeared like, okay, here come the Phillies. Ultimately, it comes down to proving to your manager day in and day out that you have the ability to stop the big inning.
And that's something that not a single Red has proven so far to Jim Riggleman or Brian Price before him. I mean, Pivetta's proven to his manager that, okay, I made the mistake, and he's come back and he's an out away from back-to-back scoreless, hitless innings. And it is back-to-back hitless, scoreless innings. He has punched out 12. Chris Sale-like here tonight for Pivetta. Yes, indeed. Made it 5 straight games, matching a franchise record for the Reds with a home run. He'll try and go one more tomorrow. Herrera, the next half inning, clubbed a 2-run home run to make it 2-1 Phillies. Scooter Gennett, a big 2-out run scoring single to plate Peraza, who had doubled with 2 away. That tied the game. Then the big blow, Mason Williams. His first hit as a Red, a 3-run home run in the 4th. Phillies scored a single run to chase DeSclafani in the 5th. But they've gotten brilliant work from David Hernandez, who had to come on to replace Amir Garrett, who was injured after one batter had some kind of either foot or ankle or leg injury. We've not been notified from the clubhouse since he left the game. Hernandez has retired all 4 batters he's faced. And now he'll begin a second straight full inning. He faces 8, 9, and 1, so we'll have a pinch hitter here in the Philadelphia 7th inning. In fact, already standing downstairs is the young man I think was the one they called up before the game today. They placed Adam Morgan on the paternity list. And it's strike 3 called. Boy, is he throwing the ball well.
Fastball started off the plate, came right back to it.
Pivetta goes 6 innings tonight, allows 5 runs, all earned.
Roman Quinn.
Yes. Pivetta punches out 12. His career high is 13. He walked 2 and gave up 6 base hits. High 1 hopper. Suarez to the glove side. The pirouette. 2 away in the inning.
Well, even though we do not have an ounce of information about Roman Quinn up here, it is obvious he can flat get it down the first baseline. He's going to slap this ball, try to slap it the other way. More of the leadoff speedster type guy. But quickly to it, and a nice play by Eugenio Suarez.
Hernandez trying to make it perfect work out of the Reds bullpen tonight. His longest outing this year was out at Dodger Stadium in that 4-game sweep when he went 2 1/3 innings back on May the 12th. Dodgers still have a trip here to Cincinnati this year. Boy, well, that could be a huge series for the Dodgers. I mean, they've played well here for an extended period of time, but it's still really tight. Arizona game and a half back, Colorado 2 back, Giants even in it at 5 1/2 back, and the Dodgers don't come here until the middle of September. 10, 11, and 12. Arizona had that heartbreaking defeat, coughing it up in the bottom of the 9th inning at Wrigley yesterday. They will take on the Padres tonight. And we told you the Dodgers were leading late in Atlanta after winning the first game of that series last night. Number of 4-game series this weekend. Hernandez was on his way to the dugout.
Tried to get that comeback fastball that he threw to Alfaro for strike 3. That one didn't quite get back to the outside, or this time to the inside corner. He starts it in there, just doesn't quite get back to the plate. Neither did that one. And Hernandez walking to the dugout on both pitches.
Try one more time. No, he just threw him a fastball and said try to hit it. How about David Hernandez?
Nice job.
Matches a season best 2 1/3 innings. Perfect baseball from Hernandez. What a year he's putting together.
Cincinnati for the 4th annual Sand Volleyball Classic on August 11th. Co-ed teams of 6 are welcome to compete for a great cause. You can register today at bgcgc.com/events, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Cincinnati. 5-3 game. Reds on top of the Phils as we head for the bottom of 7 on a beautiful night in downtown Cincinnati, guys.
Well, that moon is just mesmerizing, isn't it? I mean, it is sitting basically just above the pilot house out in straightaway center field. Beautiful. Looks like one of those old yellow light bulbs you used to see and sort of maybe hanging off the back of somebody's porch.
A bit of a precursor to tomorrow's concert of Walk the Moon.
Wow. Cowboy. Dielson Herrera the batter. And the Phillies go to their bullpen. They bring on Jake Thompson,
who pitched the 9th inning last night.
Herrera's only made 1 start since he was brought up. He walked a couple of times in that game. And I mean, he was rolling down at AAA Louisville. And now you're coming in 1 at bat, maybe every game, maybe every other game.
I think if his shoulder was healthier, he may have the opportunity to start more, but I think that is a major question mark for Herrera as far as being able to throw the baseball.
Of course, the Reds are running a regular second baseman out there who's having a hard time throwing the ball. Of course, he is not going to cover off the ball. Breaking ball fouled away, 2-2.
But I will say this for Dielson Herrera. Being a young player it's very difficult to try to learn to come off the bench to hit. He's done a pretty good job at it. He's given the Reds some good at bats. Whether the numbers are good, bad, or ugly, you look at bats for a guy and how he approaches those at bats when he comes off the bench. This will be the 8th pitch of this at bat.
Watch that fastball peel off the outside corner, so there will be a 9th pitch in this at bat. And perhaps the conclusion pitch at 3 balls and 2 strikes. We'll see. Billy Hamilton next as Herrera bats for Hernandez. And a nice at bat indeed as he draws a walk. That's what you're talking about. Dielson drawing the walk to open up the 7th inning.
You come off the bench, it doesn't always take a hit to have a quality at bat. You see 9 pitches in a bat coming off the bench. That's a good at bat whether you get a hit or get on base. Doesn't matter. That tells me you're ready to battle when you come off the bench and you're ready to do the job I'm asking you to do if I'm Jim Riggleman.
Now Billy Hamilton, Franco drawn way in at 3rd. And Billy flashes a bunt, pulls it away. It's ball 1. Cardinals scored twice to take a 2-1 lead over Chicago.
Well, if Hamilton does bunt this ball, he needs to bunt it at Santana at first, not Franco at 3rd. It is a much more difficult play for the first baseman coming in, especially a right-handed first baseman, to have to field the ball, pivot, and throw a strike to second base. For Franco, not a big deal. And I'll go back to this. If you are being asked to sacrifice bunt, stay in the batter's box and bunt the baseball. It's not about running out of the box. You are sacrificing. That means I'm giving myself up. It's not about how fast I can run to first base. And this is obviously a sacrifice bunt. He has squared around every single time. Don't run out of the box. Don't move out of the box. Bunt the ball to the first baseman.
Everybody's safe. That ball hit the ground. That was a great effort by the pitcher Thompson, but it's a bunt hit for Billy Hamilton.
It was not a good bunt, but the result turns out tremendous.
What an effort that was. So now the question is, are we going to see another bunt from Peraza? He is without question the best bunter on his team.
Well, he can bunt the ball hard right at the third baseman Franco. This is changing the dynamic now with runners at first and second. You want to bunt the ball at third, make Franco vacate third base and make him come get the baseball if you do happen to bunt.
Can't do any better than that.
That's money.
I mean, that guy,
just money.
he is by far the best bunter on this team.
That's just great execution.
All right, so what to do now if you're the Phillies? Obviously, you're going to bring your infield in, and you're going to go after Jeanette.
Well, good luck with that.
He is 1 for 2, knocked in a run with a single back in the third, drew a walk in the fifth. Those are big runs out there on the bases. I mean, you know, you don't nail it shut, but taking the lead from 2 to 4
Well, insurance runs, especially against a club that hit 7 home runs last night, that would be quite large here in this situation, especially now that we are in the 7th inning.
Started 2 and laid off. But he got a piece of it with a bat, so it's 0-2.
This is one of those spots for Jeanette where he will expand the zone to try to get the run home, whether it's a fly ball into the outfield or trying to drive the ball into a gap or get a base hit through the left side of the infield.
Broken bat roller. The runners are going to stay put. You surprised you don't try it there with Herrera?
Not where the ball was hit. I think Herrera's out at the plate if he takes off.
Votto will be intentionally walked.
Wow. That's a gutsy move right there. And I think the fans realize it as well. Now, obviously, it's the right move to make if you're Gabe Kapler, because you're playing, well, playing for a force at any base. But goodness gracious, that's a roll of the dice with the way this guy's swinging the bat.
Leading run producer in the National League is already homered tonight, 1 for 3. Ball 1.
But what you've done by walking Votto, there's a kid on the mound. He knows he's leading the league in RBIs, and he knows he's hit home runs in 5 consecutive games. Well, I don't want him to hit a grand slam off of me here, so you add a bit of the pressure element there, and that's why it's 2-0. Trying to make a perfect pitch.
And especially the way Votto's going right now. I mean, look, we understand he's Joey Votto, one of the great hitters of all time, but Votto for the better part of the last 30 days is hitting right around 200. But like you said, it's a right move to make. There's no doubt about it. Boy, he had a 2-0 pitch to hit there, and he saw the look on his face. He'd love to see that one again. Suarez has 1 grand slam. The Reds as a team have 9. That's tied for most in the major leagues. Two balls and 2 strikes. Bottom fell out of that one.
Suarez can fool you a little bit because early in the count, he is making a major swing. He'll slow himself down a little bit once he gets to 2 strikes.
Long throw across the diamond by Franco. So they walk Votto to pitch to Suarez, and they get him out. Reds leave him loaded. Missed a big chance. Still up by 2.
Presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow, a little bit of a different start time with a 6:40 first pitch. We're on the air at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And pitching for the Reds tomorrow, there will be some eyeballs on Matt Harvey as he takes the mound against Vince Velasquez tomorrow night. First pitch, 6:40, game 3 of this 4-game set.
Yeah, Harvey was on such a good roll there for the better part of a month and then had his worst game of the season his last time out. So see how it goes for Matt tomorrow night. I'm not going to say rumors because there really haven't been many rumors. I think everybody believes that Harvey's going to be traded or the Reds will try and move him by the deadline, but not hearing a whole lot about it. Not that that really means anything.
But I don't think the Reds are just going to give away Matt Harvey. I just don't think they're going to do it. If they have something that piques their interest, I think they will make the trade.
Jared Hughes takes over on the mound for the Reds following 2 1/3 of perfect work from David Hernandez. And Hernandez right now is a pitcher of record for the Reds. He came into the game. DeSclafani did not go 5. And even though Garrett got an out, Hernandez brought tremendous calm to this game. Two and 2 on Rhys Hoskins, who has 2 hits, scored a run, knocked in a run. Followed by Herrera. Let's see if he can get that donut off his bat, which he finally just did. Strike 3 called. Hoskins disagrees.
Telling you, there are some pitches that come out of the hand of Jared Hughes, and you think to yourself, how in the world does he make the ball move like that? That looks like a left-handed slider.
Here's Herrera. Hit off the end of the bat.
We had a boatload of home runs last night. And at that point, you're thinking, all right, well, we may have a 4-game series of slugfests. And tonight there's 22 combined strikeout. How funny this game can change. When Hughes really gets extension on that sinker, that last 2 or 3 feet at the plate, bottom just falls out of it.
2 and 2 on Herrera. Oh boy. Of course, they give away a free pizza here at the ballpark when Reds pitchers strike out 11 batters in a game, so they want to get a little something to eat with one more punch out here. Can't blame anybody for that.
I'm all about eating.
Not going to get it here. Votto to Hughes for the second out.
Get nearly $8,500 cash back on this specially equipped Sierra SLT Crew Cab model when you finance through GM Financial.
The last Philadelphia base runner in this game was the final batter that Anthony DeSclafani faced in the 5th inning. That was a single to knock in a run by Hoskins. So 10 in a row retired since then. 1 by Garrett, 7 by Hernandez, and now 2 by Hughes, and it's ball 1 to Carlos Santana here in the 8th inning. Well, no two ways about it. You got to make guys earn it here this late. Two and 0 on Santana.
Interesting, the 2-0 swing there by Santana. If that had been in the 1st inning, he would have been taking all the way.
Two balls and a strike. They're in the 8th inning in Atlanta, where the Dodgers continue to lead the Braves 4-1. And now the Cardinals a 5-1 lead in the 4th over the Cubs. Mets and the Pirates are in the 8th inning tied.
Walked him.
Well, that's the last thing in the world you wanted to see happen here.
And it appears Jim Riggleman is going to make a move, and I would bet that move is to Rysel Iglesias.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I don't think there's anyone else you would bring in now. Right-handed batter coming up. So to be part of a double switch. Looks like who's that? Brandon Dixon.
Brandon Dixon will go to second base.
All right. So here comes Rysel. Back in a moment. Inning. Brandon Dixon now at second base. Scooter Gennett is out for the rest of the night. And trying to pick up the final 4 outs of this game, including his final out here in the 8th, is the Reds closer, Raisel Iglesias. Strike 2. Oh my.
I don't know how Franco laid off of that pitch. It's off the plate, but it was only by a hair.
Now the 1-2 pitch coming to Franco. One hopper to Dixon, just came in the game. Inning over. Raisel slams the door in the 8th. 3 outs to go.
And we hope to be there in just a few minutes. Reds Live postgame presented by Performance Kings Honda. Guys, we've got an update on Amir Garrett, the injury that caused him to leave the game in the 5th. The Reds have described the injury as a left Achilles strain, a mild left Achilles strain. X-rays are negative. They have listed Garrett now as day-to-day.
You know what's interesting is his right foot was the one that hit the bag, and they're saying it's his left Achilles. Okay, maybe it's where he pushed off.
Problem that you have with a strain like that, sometimes you get a spasm in there and you can't push off your left foot, and that's probably what ultimately ended up happening with Garrett in that situation.
Maybe pushing all you right with the left foot.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a spasm because you overextended it.
All right, Reds batting still against Thompson. He worked a scoreless inning, although the Reds loaded the bases against him. Wasn't like they knocked the cover off the ball. They had a bunt hit that was actually a bad bunt.
Bad bunt.
After he walked the first batter in the inning. He intentionally walked Votto to get Suarez on a ground ball to third base, ending the inning. Second inning in a row since coming into the game that Thompson walks a leadoff man. So that'll bring Adam Duvall to the plate. I tell you, I don't know how some of these managers, Cowboy, the patience and the temperament that they have to have in this day and age, and it's just amazing to me. I mean, you bring pitchers into a game, and okay, maybe one inning you walk the leadoff man. Okay, you know, hey, here's a hiccup. You watch him do it 2 innings in a row. I have a hard time bringing that guy into games. I don't care what kind of year he's having.
That's the reason that Jake Thompson has been up and down, up and down. And it's also the reason that he's pitching in a game where his team is behind. You use the guys that you know are going to be aggressive, that are going to go after the hitters, that are going to throw strikes. They're not going to hurt themselves. Those are the guys that you use when the game is tied and when you have the lead. Can you earn yourself into that spot? Yeah. Throw the ball over the plate. I think for a lot of young pitchers, Tom, when they come to the big leagues, they're just not sure in their heart and in their gut that their stuff is good enough. So they try to do too much. They try to overthrow or make their breaking ball better than what it's ever been because they're pitching in the big leagues. It doesn't have to be that way.
Wow. Guys walked 4 batters. Now, one of them was intentional, and Gabe Kapler is going to send his pitching coach out. God bless those guys.
Well, that has been the issue for Jake Thompson anyway. 6 walks, 14 innings. He didn't walk a batter in last night's game, but here he is in his 2nd consecutive day. There are times when you're on the mound and you may not have your best command, and there are times like that. It's just part of it. But you have to have a safe place that you can go and trust your defense. Get that fastball down and away at the kneecaps, get it on the outside corner, middle away. Let your defense help you. You don't have to get a swing and miss on every pitch you throw.
Williams puts it down, throw to third, and safe is the call. I'm not sure if Franco ever got to the bag.
Franco started in, then he broke back to the bag. He could not find the bag, so he tried to tag Barnhart. Well, at that point in time, you can forget about it. I think Franco was just trying to make sure he caught the ball. And with a ball in the dirt like that, Franco did the right thing. The play by the catcher, not the play he needed to make at that point in time.
And the catcher spot has been a disaster on the defensive side for Philadelphia.
Well, they have 16 errors, which is 7 more than any other club in the major leagues. 16 by the catchers combined.
And even though that doesn't go as an error, it certainly was a mental
right.
error.
Now Brandon Dixon's in a good spot. He's got a chance to blow this bad boy wide open and feel some confidence in doing it.
Infield in, nobody out. And a fly ball pulled foul and out of play. And Dixon out of there on strikes, first out of the inning. First strikeout for Thompson. Now Billing. 1 for 3. He was given credit for a bunt single on that pop-up against Thompson an inning ago. Strike one.
Boom. Well, normally the infield plays in with Hamilton at the plate anyway, but they are not concerned about getting Hamilton here. They are concerned about getting Barnhart at the plate.
One ball and 2 strikes on Hamilton.
Reds had this type of situation back in the 7th, weren't able to plate a run. Looking for a little Great American Insurance here.
2-2 on Billy Hamilton. Bases loaded, 1 out. And it's in the air, well hit to deep right field. And what a play leaping into the air made by Nick Williams. It will be a sac fly to drive in a run, but he just saved at least 3 runs. What a great play.
Wow, when that came off the bat, Tom, I thought he had no chance. I'm thinking triple. Nick Williams is not only, wow, hit the ball out of the ballpark, but he's got a little foot speed, because that was an outstanding play.
Well, that is acrobatic indeed. Look at this, leaping into the air. Wow. Nicely done, and well done by Hamilton to bring in a run and make it a 3-run game. Boy, what a beautiful play that was. Almost
that ball was hit
like
hard.
a dancer out there leaping into the air. That was a great play. Right now, Peraza.
Now, are you talking about salsa dance?
No, you know better now.
More like ballet, right?
Ballet, yeah, I should. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, but I've seen you do the 2-step, and it reminds me a lot of that. What Williams just did.
Now, if you think my 2-step looked like that,
well, it did that night when you and your bride were out dancing a little bit, and your feet were leaving the ground. I had never seen the 2-step done that way, but you guys were really good at it.
I got you.
Yeah. Like, thanks for just completely making that up. Why not? Sounds good. 1-0 the count. You like doing a 2-step though, right? In all seriousness, it's a fun dance to do. It's a really fun dance to do. They're all fun dances to do. You just got to get the courage to get out there.
Tell you, the thing I really, really enjoy is square dancing.
Yes. Yes. You know,
Do-si-do your partner. Promenade.
See, it's been a while since you broke that out. And I was going to say, if you don't have a future in actually square dancing, you do for the calling.
The grand right and left.
And the partner. We'll have a little bit of that going to break here shortly.
Yeah, we will.
We will have some of that. 2-1, 3-1.
Wow.
They're going to go ahead and walk Peraza.
And why not?
Oh, of course. I mean, that should have never even, once they fell behind a couple of balls, yeah.
Well, we've seen Lorenzen hit a grand slam. We've seen Anthony DeSclafani hit a grand slam. Have we ever seen a closer hit a grand slam? I'm sure in Cuba during his time, Iglesias swung the bat a little bit. Maybe.
Maybe. He is 0 for 2 this year. He does have 4 hits in his major league career. 4 of them. That's hard to believe he has that many. Look at this. Little butcher boy, that was his first base hit.
He's got some speed now.
One and one on Rysel. Uh-oh. He might have another one here. Franco going to get him. Reds leave him loaded for the 2nd straight inning. All right. Now Iglesias just needs 3 outs. minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota for over 30 offers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. The Ohio Lottery postgame concert series continues tomorrow. Cincinnati's very own Walk the Moon performing live from the field after the game tomorrow night. So if you have a ticket to the Reds game, you can stick around for Walk the Moon. Visit Reds.com. And again, a reminder, a half-hour earlier start time than our regular time tomorrow. So 6:40 the first pitch. Raisel Iglesias gunning for save number 20 of this season. 7 of his saves this year, 21 in his career, have been for more than 1 inning. He got the final out here in the 8th.
Seen Iglesias do that a lot more this year than what we saw in past. First pitch changeup. The second pitch there was a changeup. Really trying to take some of the aggressiveness away from these hitters, knowing that Iglesias has that high velocity heater.
Line drive caught. Boy, who talked about Williams? That is his second laser at the right fielder tonight. A hitless game, and Nick Williams has just stung the ball.
He is dead on the fastball middle end. You see Barnhart set away, but the ball came back over the plate. But in the grand scheme of things, that's just an out.
Here's Kingery. Breaking ball in there, a strike.
Well, I think the folks here are thinking of hunger.
Oh, yes, indeed. They want that pizza.
Well, they've got a chance here.
Never blame anybody for wanting some za. Ever. Morning, noon, or night. One ball and 2 strikes on Kingery. Base hit left field. Left the breaking ball out in the middle of the plate. He whacked it. Andrew Knapp will bat for Thompson. What a funky line he had tonight. No, I'm sorry. He's batting for Alfaro. Thompson goes 2 innings, allows 1 hit, 1 run. The Reds scored without a hit in the 8th inning. He struck out 1. He walked 5 batters in 2 innings, 2 of them intentionally. You don't see that pitching line very often. 5 walks, 2 intentions.
That's a lot of walks.
That's a lot of walks. I don't know how they do it. Strike 1 on Knapp.
Well, the object for the Phillies here is to get Hoskins to the plate. The object for Raisel Iglesias is not to let that happen.
Pull to the right side. They get one, or do they?
They don't.
They don't get a single out.
With a 3-run lead, you've got to make sure you get at least one on a play that, well, that's a routine double play ball. With the catcher running. And as Peraza came across the bag, just tried to make the transfer too soon, and he just dropped it.
Jesmuel Valentin will come up and back. First time we have seen him in a Philadelphia uniform.
Jose Valentin's son.
Yes.
Daddy could play a little bit now.
Yes, he could. Yes, he could. He looks just like him, doesn't he?
He does.
All of a sudden, this guy's a tying run at the plate. Iglesias has had 2 strikes on each of the last 2 hitters. He allowed the single to Kingery and then got the ground ball that should have been at least 1 out. At least 1. Peraza charged with the air on that ball. Straight up into the air. Votto in foul ground. 1 out to go.
If you're Tucker Barnhart, you don't go out and say, hey, let's get this guy because we don't want the guy on deck to come to the plate. You just go out and say, hey, all right, let's go. Let's get this guy and end it right here. Even though your message has a little bit of underlying tone.
Subliminal.
Yeah, I don't want that big boy coming up here.
Strike 1 on Hernandez. 1 hit and 3 at bats. He's also drawn a walk. Reds trying to even his series at a game apiece, but the tying run is at the plate. Hernandez a little more pop than you might think. He does have 8 home runs on the year. Fastball fouled away 0-2.
Well, there will be quite the cheer, not only for a win, but if there's a strikeout here, that's win, save, pizza. Elvis is in the house. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
That's why you always leave a ticket if you're able for the King, just in case he decides to show up.
Never know when he's going to be around.
Short right field, a base hit. This will bring in a run. Iglesias has given up 2 hits on 2 strike pitches here in the inning. And the Reds gave the Phillies an extra out. And now it's a 2-run game.
Looked like a breaking ball on the plate. Didn't hit it well, but hit it in a good spot. And what was the dreaded issue 5 batters ago has ultimately happened, and that's Hoskins is at the plate here in the 9th. Oh boy.
Hoskins 2 for 4 in the game. Has scored a run, knocked in a run. Hughes struck him out his last time up in the 8th. Strike 1. Well, he got away with one there. That breaking ball stayed right in the middle of the plate and didn't move.
Hoskins guessing fastball. Started with the fastball. Not a whole lot of chance to hit a 97-mile-an-hour heater 6 inches off the outside corner.
Crowd been standing for a while anticipating the final out of this one. 4th batter in the inning. He's had 2 strikes on. Last 3 have put the ball in play. You had the single by Kingery. You had the ground ball by the pinch hitter when they couldn't get the Knapp when they couldn't get the double play, and then the single by Hernandez. Iglesias has not struck out a batter tonight, which is rare. Hook to the left side. Suarez is short way. Reds win. The Reds win. And Elvis likes that, Cowboy. What do you think he's saying right now, Cowboy?
He's ready for a little jailhouse rock.
What a job by the Reds bullpen tonight of Garrett for a batter that got hurt. But Hernandez was spectacular. He'll get the win in this game. Hughes solid, and Iglesias getting the save. Reds win it. Final count 6-4. Back to tie a ribbon around this one in a minute.